Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, this is our group members and we will talk about audit of payroll and personal circle.
My name is Nur Fatehah Mulyani binti Aziz Maulana and the second member is Nur Shahida Amira binti Muhammad Faisal and the third member is Felicia Gadong Agong.
What is payroll? Payroll is recruited employees and making payment to them. The payment best concerned with managing the compensation of employees for service rendered is one of that probably occupies the most attention since the propriety and accuracy of all payroll payment will have a direct impact on the representation of financial report. The overall objective, the audit of the payroll and personal circle is to evaluate whether the account balance affected by the circle and fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. There are four types of activities in payroll and personal circles, which is authorizing employment, timekeeping, preparation of payroll, and payment of payroll.
Authorizing employment is recruiting new employees. This is where they must fill up certain form as shown in the slide. Next is timekeeping, which is collecting time card information, for example, a punch card. The second one is verifying time card information. They are at preparation of payroll, which is summarizing wages due, keying employees changes, calculating applicable taxes, applicable wage deduction, creating payroll, verifying wage and tax, keying payroll, and lastly, sending out direct deposit notification. There are three steps in payment of payroll as shown in the slide, which is depositing withheld tax, issuing paycheck, and lastly, issuing government payroll report.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Shahida Amira binti Muhammad Faisal and I will continue the presentation. As you can see, these are the main accounts and transactions related to payroll. Next is documents and activities. There are 10 documents and activities that related to payroll transaction. First is personal file. Personal file is record the file data related to employees, including details of date of employment, rates of pay, authorized deduction, evaluation, and termination of employment. Second is deduction authorization form. It is to authorize payroll deduction for EPF contribution and superannuation. Third is rate authorization form. It is to authorize rate of pay. Fourth is time card. Time card is used to record the time employee starts and stops work during a pay period. This card must be inserted into a time clock as an employee commences or ceases work, and the time will automatically be punched onto the card. Fifth is payroll check. Payroll check is to prepare a check in the name of an employee for services rendered. Sixth is payroll register. Payroll register is to record the details of each employee's pay, the amount of gross pay and how it is computed, the amount of deduction and the amount of net pay for each pay period. This register serves as a summary of the amounts paid to employees during each pay period. 7 is employee earnings record. It is to record the detail of an employee's pay for a whole financial year. Pay details are entered on the card for each pay period. The preparation of employee group certificate is made easier by totaling the columns on the card instead of having to refer to the payroll register for each pay period to verify how much each employee has been paid. Next document is labor cost distribution summary. It is to prepare a summary identifying the gross factory earnings for the various account classification, example by product or division. Next is payroll tax return. It is to prepare a tax form for submission to the relevant government agency or taxation office. Next document is group certificate. It is to prepare this document to be given to an employee for filing with Malaysia, showing annual earnings, MPF contribution withheld and other deduction authorized by the employee, including the superannuation and union dues. And lastly is control card. Control card is prepare a control card showing the total payroll for the period. At the end of each pay period, the employee earning records card are totaled and reconciled with the control card. This control measure is similar to that of the control account or subsidiary ledger.
Next, accuracy and completeness. Accuracy recorded payroll transactions are for services. The payment for payroll-related services are being made to the valid employees for actual time work. Proper segregation of duties between processing and personal function educate personal file are maintained, and work or time records are approved by person of appropriate level. Completeness. All payroll transactions are properly recorded. Updated record for status and lever should be maintained by personnel office, and payroll processing function is provided with updated information about levers.
Accuracy is where the payroll transactions are recorded at the proper amount. Internal verification is to ensure that the calculation of wages and salaries is in agreement with the record of work performed and term of employment. The auditor will examine the client's record. Next is cutoff. This is where the payroll transactions are recorded in the correct accounting period. It is reported promptly to payroll processing function. Auditor will examine the indication of internal control verification and test procedure.
Lastly is classification. Payroll transactions are recorded in the proper account. Proper internal verification and approval for account charged to payroll. The auditor will review client procedure and inspect their records to verify there has been proper classification of employee benefit costs. After obtaining and understanding internal control structure to plan the payroll and personnel cycle audit, the auditor will make a preliminary assessment of control risk for the financial report assertion related to the cycle, transaction, and account balance. It is to evaluate the effectiveness of an entity internal control structure (ICS) in preventing and correcting material misstatement. It is use flowcharts, and internal control questionnaire (ICQ) to document the auditor understanding of the ICS.
There are 4 tests of control as shown in the slide, which is observation, inquiry, inspection, and lastly, re-performance.
There are two types of substantive tests in substantive audit procedure, which is transaction and balance. Transaction to be performed if a review of the preliminary assessment of control risk is high, while balance an audit procedure that examines the financial statement and supporting document if there is an error. This test needed as evidence to support the assertion that the financial report of the entity is complete, valid, and accurate. That's all from us. Thank you.